This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build an online presence and run your business. So there's no real theme in this video other than just appreciating India's interesting geography and culture over the next 8 minutes or so. There's a lot missing in this video, and some regions and subtopics received more attention than others. These bits of information are just things I've come across while learning about India and looking for more specific topic ideas for future videos. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with a bit about India's impressive biodiversity. India is the 8th most biodiverse country in the world. The category it stands out the most in is reptiles, where it's ranked 5th in the world. This biodiversity is largely due to its diverse climates. India has 23 different climate types, making it one of the most climatically diverse countries in the world. It has everything from a tropical monsoon climate in the southeast and west, a desert climate in the northwest, tundra in the far north, and temperate climates in between. The tundra is located in the Himalaya mountains. China and Nepal are often the first countries that come to mind when mentioning the Himalayas, probably due to the country sharing Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world. But the country with the greatest share of the Himalayas is India. If you rank countries by their tallest mountain, India is ranked 4th in the world. Within India's Himalaya mountains is the highest motorable road and pass in the world, at an elevation of 5,798 meters, or just over 19,000 feet. It is fairly new, having been constructed in 2017. The world's highest rail bridge is also located within these mountains, named the Chenab Rail Bridge, after the river it sits over. It sits above the river at 359 meters, or 1,178 feet, nearly 100 feet higher than the Eiffel Tower is tall. Another interesting place in India's Himalayas is Skeleton Lake. In 1942, a forest ranger discovered the frozen lake and the skeletons sitting in and around it, some with flesh still attached. When the ice melted that summer, even more skeletons were uncovered. At first, it was believed the skeletons were casualties of a hidden Japanese invasion force, but it was later found that the skeletons were far too old. The remains are now believed to have belonged to 3 distinct groups, who died in 2 independent events. The first around 800 CE, and the second 1800 CE, but it's unclear how they died. The Himalayas are responsible for providing a significant portion of water to the rivers below. When the glaciers melt, the water finds their way to some of the most prominent rivers in India. The Ganges River Basin alone has a population of more than 500 million people, making it the most populated river basin in the world. In fact, because of this region, India is expected to pass China as the most populated country in the world in 2023. This region has almost always had a high population compared to other parts of the world because of the water available and fertile land. But the high birth rate that occurs in the northern regions today is what will make India the most populated country. Like most countries, India receives a significant amount of fresh water from rainfall, but it's not consistent across the country or throughout the year. Most rain in India occurs during the monsoon season, from June to September, but the town of Mawsynram has an extraordinarily showery, rainy, and long monsoonal season, and a short dry season. In fact, it's the wettest terrestrial place on Earth, with an average annual rainfall of 11,872 millimeters, or 468 inches. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the town received 26,000 millimeters, or 1,000 inches, of rainfall in 1985. The driest place in India is the Thar Desert, also known as the Great Indian Desert. It covers some 77,000 square miles, or 200,000 square kilometers. About 85% of the Thar Desert is in India, and about 15% is in Pakistan. A few animals that call the desert home are the Indian spiny-tailed lizard, the Great Indian bustard, and the Indian spotted eagle. At the heart of the desert is Jaisalmer, also nicknamed the Golden City. It's covered in beautiful sandy-colored architecture and is home to a 860-year-old fort. This fort contains a royal palace and multiple Jain temples. Jainism found its origins in the region and is the 6th largest religion in India, with around 4.5 million practicing. Next, we'll head across the Bay of Bengal on what would typically be a 2 to 3 hour flight from the mainland. But first, let's look at today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is a simple-to-use website builder and hosting platform, but you can do more than build a professional-looking website. Squarespace has tons of tools to help you grow your business, such as email campaigns. They make it easy to collect email subscribers and convert them into loyal customers. You start with an email template and customize it by applying your brand ingredients like site colors and logo, and there are built-in analytics that measure the impact of every send. And Squarespace makes it easy for creators and educators to monetize their content and expertise in a way that fits their brand. With member areas, you can unlock a new revenue stream for your business and free up time in your schedule by selling access to gated content like classes, online courses, or newsletters. And when selling these products, you can accept PayPal, Apple Pay, Stripe, and Venmo, making sure you don't leave any potential customers behind. Head to squarespace.com/geographygeek for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This is Point Blair, the capital of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These islands are a union territory, which is a federally governed territory of India. There are 572 islands in the territory, covering an area of 8,249 square kilometers, or 3,185 square miles. One of these is North Sentinel Island. It is home to an indigenous population in voluntary isolation, who are known to defend by force their isolation from the outside world. Such attacks resulted in the deaths of 2 fishermen in 2006 and an American Christian missionary in 2018. An Indian merchant ship once wrecked on a coral reef near the island. The 106 surviving passengers and crewmen landed on the beach in the ship's boat and had to fend off attacks by the locals until they were eventually found by a Royal Navy rescue party. These people speak what is named Sentinelese, but due to the lack of contact, essentially nothing is known about it. Inhabitants of another island were brought to North Sentinel Island to attempt communication, but they couldn't understand anything that was being said. This is just one of nearly 450 languages spoken in India. India actually has the 4th most spoken languages in the world. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are also home to India's only active volcano, Barren Island. The first recorded eruption of the volcano dates back to 1787. Since then, the volcano has erupted more than 10 times, with the most recent being in 2020. These islands have historically faced another natural disaster, tsunamis. These islands were devastated by a tsunami in 2004, which killed more than 2,000 people, injured another 45,000, and left at least 40,000 people homeless. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are covered in unique flora and fauna. The islands, which are primarily covered in tropical rainforest, have around 2,200 varieties of plants, out of which 200 are endemic, and 1,300 do not occur in mainland India. About 50 varieties of forest mammals are found to occur in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Some are also endemic, including the Andaman wild boar. The state animal of Andaman is the dugong, also known as the sea cow. There are also 14 endemic species of birds and 10 endemic species of butterflies and moths. Back near the mainland is another island, the country of Sri Lanka. Though not part of India, centuries ago, it was connected to what is today the modern country of India. You could walk on foot by a thin stretch of land known as Adam's Bridge, until a cyclone broke it into a chain of islands in 1480. A few other interesting places that relate to India's geography, but hasn't already been mentioned, are Lonar Lake. A meteorite traveling at about 11 miles per second made this lake approximately 50,000 years ago. It's now used to study meteorite impact. Loktak Lake, the largest freshwater lake in northeast India, and it's also considered the only national park in the world that floats, because of the floating patches of vegetation, soil, and other organic matter in varying stages of decay. Hoganikau Falls, sometimes called the Niagara Falls of India. Majuli Island, at 352 square kilometers or 136 square miles, is the world's largest inhabited river island. And Siachen Glacier, which is considered home to the highest battleground on Earth. Indian and Pakistani forces have been occupying posts on or near the 47-mile-long glacier in the Himalayas since 1984, due to this being disputed territory. Skirmishes have broken out multiple times since 1984, and hundreds of soldiers have died on both sides. though most of the casualties have been due to the adverse climate. Maybe I'll go more into disputed territory between these countries in another video. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube members, and thank you all for watching.